What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mo.J, and today we got the lifetime story of Wendy Williams. Miss, how you doing? But before we get into all that, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you want to be a part of this, hit your subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Now, we're going to be taking a flight up to New Jersey. We about to see where it all started for Wendy Williams, all the way up to now, her ups, her downs, and how she came out. You know me, I'm not going to hold you up, so let's jump into it. This is Wendy Williams, the Lifetime movie. Lifetime presents Wendy Williams. You know how most movies start off. You got Wendy sitting in the back and she just thinking about everything she went through in her past to get her to where she is. Now, where she is now, this is supposed to be present day, but she zones out because she's thinking about all this, and her stylist and makeup artist is like, hey, Wendy, you all right? We got to get ready to perform, girl. You good? And Wendy's like, oh yeah, I'm good. What we on? We ready? Let's get it happening. Let's get it cracking. I must say, before we go any further, the lady that they casted to play Wendy Williams looks like she could be a young Wendy Williams. But this right here is right before Wendy goes on stage. And what she does is, instead of going on stage, she turns, she talks to us, as you see her here. And she's pretty much like, listen, I've been giving away the tea on everybody else. This is the time that I'm about to give you the tea on me. I'm about to give you my life story before I walk out on that stage. So I'm gonna tell you everything. No holds barred. I'm gonna give you my life story. Growing up for Wendy, she was how could you say, a little overweight child, but she was energetic, and she was wilding out, just being a kid. She's a little overweight, but she got to get the kids active. Now, where she grew up at is now called Wendy's Way, but back then it was just whatever. But Wendy, she's getting ready for a birthday party, and her mom's trying to get her dressed, but the dress is actually too small for her now because she's getting bigger and bigger. So they call in her sister's trying to help, and Wendy's like, no, I got it. So she turned around, the dad comes in like, man, what in the world? So then you see her little brother, and it turns out her little brother's been sneaking in Twinkies and all kinds of snacks. So that's why Wendy's been gaining weight. She's eating and she's not, being active. But she eventually gets the dress on herself, and she's getting ready to go to a birthday party. Now, Wendy isn't one to follow the rules, but today she's going to a birthday party, and she figures, oh, they're playing musical chairs. Today is the day. If I follow the rules and I win, then everyone's going to be happy and proud about me. So while they're playing, she gets it to the last chair. So it's just her versus the birthday girl. Now, anybody else is like, okay, it's her birthday. We're going to let her win. But not Wendy. Wendy wanted to win this. Wendy wanted to win so bad, she kind of nudged her out the way, and she got the chair. Now, everybody's like, Wendy, what are you doing? It's the girl's birthday. So the birthday girl starts crying, and while Wendy's there, she's thinking everybody's about to, oh, Wendy, you won. She ends up breaking the chair and falling down. Now the whole party turns, so everybody was feeling sorry for the birthday girl. Now they're all laughing at Wendy because she was overweight and she broke the chair playing musical chairs. Backfired on you, Wendy. Now the thing about Wendy is, her parents, they stayed on her about her weight. So she would use the bathroom on herself while she's in the bed. And the mom would come in there talking about, see, that's all that weight on that bladder right there. But for Wendy, she said it was because she had anxiety. So, she's just, she just, anxious. So I'm pretty sure her dreams probably wild as hell. Her thinking of some extravagant stuff. But hey, man, you at the bed, you're a kid. But it looked like they had a maid, and the maid came and cleaned up the sheets for her. So Wendy didn't grow up too bad. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I wish we had a maid growing up. Her mom wanted to put her on a diet, and it was at that point Wendy knew, all right, I got to find something. She started writing down her aspirations and things, and she's like, from here on out, I'm going to show the world that a big girl can handle hers. You know what I'm saying? So Wendy ends up going off to college, and she found radio. She found a love and an interest in radio, but she had bigger dreams of not just being at the little school. She wanted to be in New York to follow after her idol, DJ Carol Ford. So Wendy was on the A. She put her mind to it, and she took off, didn't she? Now, Wendy, after she graduated from school, she had to jump from back to back. She was going wherever the radio, New York, Boston, Philly. She's trying to end up in New York, but she's going everywhere to try to find a spot. Now, she ends up getting a gig in D.C., but when she gets there, everybody's like, okay, hey, Wendy. She goes over and talks to a couple of people talking about, I figured out how I could be an asset here. But they ain't trying to hear that. what the hell are you talking about, Wendy? But Wendy's like, oh, I just think I could do this. But ooh, I got to interview Ricky Tony. Ooh, he's so dreamy. And the girls are like, okay, what I'm saying, we've seen him around here before. We're not starstruck anymore. But for Wendy, this is all new. Now she's in the actual career field. It's interview time. Ricky Tony comes up, but the only thing is Wendy Williams is in there. She's still starstruck. Like, ooh, your voice is so nice. It's a baritone. Could you tell us a little bit about you? Ricky Tony's like, nah, I want to know a little bit about you. So she's like, Ricky Tony tells her, I didn't expect to find a cute little thing like that up in the AM radio. How old are you? She's like, old enough. So he's like, okay, I see where this is going. I like this. I like this. Ricky Tony over here, like, something young. She's inexperienced in the radio world. This never ends up good for the women. Before Ricky Tony leaves, he walks out with her and he's like, look, got the limo outside for you. Come with me. So she's like, oh, what do we do? He's like, I want to go to this party. I want to bring you with me, but I need to go back to the room to get changed. Now, whenever somebody's like, hey, can I bring you back to the room with me? Ladies, I don't know how to explain this because if I say it, it'll probably come off wrong, but don't go back with the dude. I'm just going to leave it at that. If a guy asks you to come back to the room, I got to go take a shower and get changed. Don't go back to the room with him. Especially if you don't know the man, don't go back to his room with him, especially not for the first time and by yourself. But she goes over to his room. He ends up taking a shower. She's sitting on the bed. Like I said, she's younger. She's inexperienced. She hasn't really been out much besides her school. So he comes out with just a towel on, and they're drinking a little bit of wine. He's pouring up. She drinks a little bit. He drinks some. And then he takes it from her. Now, this right here is just where all jokes aside, like what he's about to do is some whole shit, and I don't condone none of that. But he starts taking advantage of her. He's kissing on her. He ends up laying her on the bed, taking her panties off. And she's like, nah, I don't want to do this. But he's like, oh, you grown. So he continues to do what he does, kissing on her. He ends up getting on top of her and actually raping her. Now, I don't know if this story is true. I don't know this man. I don't know Wendy, so I ain't going to speak on it. But if this story is true, then, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. After this happened, Wendy starts looking at life a little bit differently. Like, you know what? I'm not about to let people push me over. I'm not about to let anybody get over. When she goes back to work, she goes up to the boss like, I'd like to thank you again for giving me the opportunity to play my music on the radio station. My numbers is up, people are calling in, our ratings are going through the roof. This is the moment where Wendy started to change and was like, you know what? I'm about to take over this. I'm about to be the person on the radio that y'all gonna hear and y'all gonna listen to every single day. This changed Wendy. Back then, AIDS just hit the scene and it was spreading like a wildfire. So after she was raped, she actually went in and she got tested. Now, she got tested for 4 months straight, but she said it was very, very nerve-wracking waiting on her results. Now, she never came back positive. She was always negative, so that's a good thing. But you should always get tested whenever you have a new partner. And in her case, it was definitely good since she was raped. But she ends up calling her dad. He's watching football and she's breaking down to him. And he's like, is everything all right? But she tries to hide the tears and just tells him that, Dad, this industry, this entertainment, music industry, it ain't too many genuine people here. Now she's crying, but she's trying to hold it back. The dad ain't really paying attention because he thinks his daughter's all right from the tone of her voice. And he can't really hear her crying. But she's really hurt on the inside because it's just her out there. She's by herself. After the phone call with her father, now Wendy's resorting to that cocaine. And now this is the road that she starts to go down where she becomes a junkie. Now, there's no other way to say it, Wendy, or drag everybody's teeth through it, but we get to see it firsthand. She was a junkie. She out here smoking dope, like real dope, not weed. She was smoking that cocaine and she felt, you know what? I'm gonna stop living life like all scared and stuff. I'm about to really enjoy life. And that coke is gonna take you to another level. Don't ask me. I don't do it. I don't do it. I only smoke weed. Now Wendy, she's opening it up. Now the girl flying, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of whew, and you still got your dream of going to New York. So she actually gets a part-time job in New York doing the job she wants to do. She works during the week at her regular job, and now she's up in New York. She got that part-time. She's feeling good. They showing how busy it is in New York. They had a bus driving on the intersection, hit the back of a car. New York, New York, that's where you want to be. You want to make a name for yourself? Go on up to New York. You get on the radio up there. Now she's doing such a good job up on the radio station. They're like, Wendy, we want to offer you a full-time job. So Wendy goes into her office in DC and she's telling them, hey, look, I got offered a full-time job, but you know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna go ahead and go up to New York with this one. And they're like, okay, bye, we don't want you. But listen to this. Wendy goes from making $9,000 at this job to $60,000 at the new job where she's about to be full time. Now, when I tell you that's a huge jump, jeez, 9,000 to 60, man, I'm about to cop a Porsche. After Wendy leaves DC, she says that she's never in her adult life been unemployed for more than 2 weeks. Now, she goes up to where Carol Ford works at Kiss FM. She goes up there and she's like, look, this is what I want to do. So she sits in the lobby for days waiting to meet Carol Ford's program director. But while she's there, she's like, listen, I need to be current on anything that's happening. So she opens up the tabloids, she's opening up the New York Times, everything. And she's just getting tea on all of the celebrities. Anything that's going on, she wants to be knowledgeable of that. So when she meets the program director, she could be like, this is happening, this music is doing this. And then she'll have a better chance of getting the job. But hey, that's one determined woman. She actually sat in that lobby days and days until she got a chance to meet the program director. Nowadays, they probably kick you out. They see you in the lobby that much without an invite. Now, here's something I would have never known. Well, I mean, I never kept up with Wendy Williams anyway, but Wendy actually met the program director, and one day Carol Ford wasn't there, so they had her actually come in and fill in. Now, she plays her song, but after the song goes off, she's like, okay, this is one of my, one of the hot songs that is out, but listen to this. She starts talking about Milli Vanilli, and they all lip sing, but this is how she put it. There is some R&B group that allegedly is lip singing over their song. And they said some of their friends ain't never heard them sing before until they got a record deal. Now the program director comes in there and he's like, "What? Hey, you got? Hey, zip it! You can't say that on the radio." So what came out of this is the program director heard that and he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna fire you. I love what you're doing." A new program director ended up coming in not too long after, and he was like, "You know what? I want to keep my radio jockeys that I have right now, and I love what Wendy is doing with that, spilling the information. Because back then, this is before it was called tea. It was just giving out the information, and I'm gonna give her own morning show where that's what she'll talk about it." So that actually played out for Wendy. She trusted her gut, did what she did on the fly, and she ended up getting a morning show with it. Now Wendy has her show. She's dishing the dirt. Everybody knows her. She's skyrocketing. People seeing her out. Wendy living her life. She out there coking it up. Let me turn a little bit for you. You know what I'm saying? She in there. Let me get some of that. But people are starting to notice her. And there's two women in the bathroom. Like, Wendy, is that you? Oh, girl, I got some information on. Hey, one of my friends is dating one of them girls from Total. And they got some juicy details about Diddy. And, hey, cokehead Wendy's like, information? I got some content for tomorrow. What does Wendy do? She gets on the air. Diddy, you need to pay your artists. Now, at this point, Wendy, like I said, she's big. You know what I'm saying? She's going to the top. She had to hire security. She got an assistant. She has an assistant called Skeletor. I mean, I can see it, but we allow her to call a man Skeletor. If they were to say she looks like a mummy or something, then we'd be wrong. Like if they're like, oh, Wendy looks like a beast. It's, oh, you're body shaming her. But she had an assistant named Skeletor. But at this point, Wendy is big. Skeletor, the assistant, actually comes in with a magazine and hands it to her. And on page 6 is Wendy Williams. Now, she's skyrocketing, but she needed some security because, hey, when you start talking about people and running their name through the dirt, people gonna be on your ass, and Wendy knew that, so she had some security to protect that ass. Eric B, Rakim, hey, they used to be spitting that fire. Now, I used to listen to them when I was younger, but Wendy actually met them when they came to the Kiss to promote their new song. But after that, a relationship formed with her and Eric B, and they ended up, you know what I'm saying, getting their groove on, you know what I'm saying? She's up there, she's listening to the music, he's showing up, showing her how to DJ and everything. And at some point, we gotta, hey, Wendy, you just have a bad selection of men. This is on you, nobody else, but this is on you. In Wendy Williams' head, she felt that Eric B was all to herself. But I think in reality, she knew. I mean, he's living that rapper life. Now, this is what I say when it's bad decision number one on Wendy when it comes to picking men. He's like, all right, hey, I got to go, you know what I'm saying, handle some business. Can I borrow your car? She's like, where's your car at? Oh, I'm getting some new rims on it. You know how I do. Got to, got to keep them tens, but I keep them clean though. So she's like, all right, but I need my car back by 5 p.m. because I got to get to work. And Wendy has never been late for work. She's never missed a show all the way up until this point. Now, hear me out. Wendy Williams' goofy ass. Eric B came back right before she had to get to work, but his car wasn't getting rims on it. So what she did was rent him a car on her credit card. Now, of course, Skeletor comes up to her later on in the day like, hey, somebody's been calling your phone all day. They about to issue an arrest warrant out for your ass because that rental car hasn't been turned in. So this whole time, Eric's been whipping the car, you know what I'm saying, using her as a booty call, and ain't turned the car in at all. So now there's an arrest warrant out for Wendy Williams, and she's like, I'll call the police, Eric. You better turn that car in. Eric is probably like, yeah, whatever. It's on your card. I don't care. Not only did she pick a rapper out of all people, she rented him a car, she messed up her credit, and she ended up getting pregnant by this guy, and he ain't even around. So for her, the toughest day of her life, she said, was when she actually went to the clinic to go ahead and abort the baby, because at this point she didn't feel like, you know what I'm saying, she was ready to have a child, especially with a guy that isn't going to be there for her. So she has an abortion. But all this is decisions that you made, Wendy. I can't feel sorry for you. We can't feel sorry for you. You made these decisions as an adult of who you slept with. Wendy got rid of the baby. Now she's still in the club. She back at the club. Like, forget this. I'm about to live. You know what I'm saying? Boom, drinks. Who got a line? Who got a line? Let me get one of those. But while she's in the club, this guy comes up to her with a match, and it has a man's name and number in it. This turns out to be Kevin, her second husband. Now, Wendy says she's not going to talk about her first husband because it wasn't interesting, it didn't last long, and he was just a rebound from messing with Eric B. That was bad decision number two. You just marrying a guy just because. See, this is all on Wendy. Now, she gets introduced to Kevin. Not formally introduced, it's just, hey, you know what I'm saying, my boy over here, he want to holler at you, you know what I'm saying, he throw parties and stuff, but here's his number, get at him. Wendy doesn't hit him up. Not right off the bat, but she's gonna hit him up. She's gonna see what Kevin talking about. Some time has passed. Wendy finally makes that call. She calls. Kevin calls back. He's like, "This is Kev." She's like, "This is Wendy. I get off at 7 o'clock. If you show up, okay. If not, you're lost." And sure enough, Kevin pulled up, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's happening? Now, Wendy's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? This man, I told him what time I got off work. He actually pulled up and showed up. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I didn't call him up. I gotta give him a chance. Little does she know, this is gonna be decision number three within 30 minutes of the movie. That's bad. Wendy and Kevin, they start getting close. They up in this, you know what I'm saying? They up living lavish. They on the couch. Now, he smoked a little bit of weed. She smoked a little bit of weed. But how she explained it is, and I'm pretty sure it's like this with a lot of women, for her, it was good to be around a thug type man, you know, saying a hard type man, because he opens up to you. So he's going to be soft for you, but he's hard on the outside because he's protective. So she always felt protective and warm with this big, strong man that could also open up. And now they're getting close. Hey, they got to see each other every day. They around each other all the time. So the connection is actually there. She's like, it's physical, it's mental, it's all of that. She's loving this. My boy Kev doing it up. They got breakfast in bed. He bringing out the orange juice and they're sitting there. And she's like, Kevin, I really like you. Kevin, like, I like you too. But then she starts to get into, yeah, I gotta, you know what I'm saying, start getting right. I'm gonna get liposuction and I'm gonna get my breasts done. And he's trying to tell her, you look good like this, which he's right. You know what I'm saying? Young Wendy looked better than the older Wendy, but that's neither here or there. But Women, you don't have to do that to your body, is what he's saying. He likes you for you, but hey, I'm gonna support you. And Wendy, she even tells him straight up, like, look, you don't have to pay for anything. I've been saving up. I'm gonna pay for it. Wendy went and got them things done. Them things are sitting up now. Look at. Let me stop. But Kevin, he's in there. He supports her. And when Wendy comes in with those note things, they got na 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 na. They got that hot stepper playing. Here come the hot stepper. Wendy burning it up now. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, she about to take her throne. She got the body. She got the tea. She got everything. So things are starting to look up for Wendy Williams. Wendy being Wendy, she gets on the radio and she starts talking about, ladies, if you gonna get any plastic surgery done, make sure you pay for it yourself. And her director comes in like, hey, whoa, whoa, hey, can't talk that shit on the radio. What you tripping? When she gets ready to leave the building, because they like, look, we gotta pay you because you're on contract, but you're not going to be working. So while Wendy's leaving, guess who's outside? The girls from Total. And the reason they're outside is because they about to whoop on Wendy because of that nonsense she was talking on the radio. Now, this is why I told you she needs security to cover her ass because people going to be on her ass. But luckily for her, Kevin pulls up and Kevin stops all of that. Like, hey, y'all get up out of here. So Kevin had a little pull in the streets and he meets up with Wendy and he's like, man, let's get out of here. But Kevin was really protecting her from what's going on in these streets. With all this going on, Wendy's like, I gotta stop this lifestyle that I'm living. And she was like, you know what? Cold turkey. Stopping the cocaine. And now she said it only took her 4 days. I don't know if it did, but she's probably making it seem like she wasn't, you know, saying the cokehead that long. But she said she stopped 4 days cold turkey. If she did, congratulations to her. You know what I'm saying? Now, for Wendy, she found a little clause in her contract. Once they suspended her, she said, you know what? I'm gonna find me another job. Now her contract says she can't have another job within New York. She goes to Philly and gets a job. Now she got the new job out in Philly, her own show. Turns out she's pregnant. Now she goes into the living room to tell Kevin, and Kevin is going off like, New York, man, they don't need you at that radio station. They don't know what they're missing. And she's like, Kevin, look, I'm pregnant. He's like, I told you. It was the most joyous day in Kevin's life. He rolling up weed, but you know what? Forget the sticky icky. I got a baby coming. I got a baby. Now, Wendy, she's running around. She's working super hard. Now, unfortunately, she's in the hospital because she fell down in the store. When she gets there, she's like hurt. And there's one of the nurses like, hey, Wendy, can I get an autograph? Hey, man, get the hell out of here. But anyway, the doctor comes in and they pretty much like, give it to a straight doctor. And the doctor's like, well, I'm still going to have you give birth, but your child is a stillborn. I know this isn't the information you're trying to hear. So you could tell for both of them, they super hurt. This is killing them on the inside. It was a little girl too. With all of this going on, Kevin's like, you know what? I think we need God's blessing. We didn't had a couple of miscarriages. You had the stillborn. I think we need to be married so God will give us this blessing to have a child. Now they go down there to get married. My boy got a Letterman on. He got the ice in the ear, the chain on. She's happy. He's just looking at the pastor like, yeah, I do. You know what I'm saying? I'll take Wendy. But they end up getting married. And wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't he do it? Don't he do it? Will he do it? Wendy ends up getting pregnant again finally. She talked to another doctor, which is pretty much telling her your body is too weak to be walking around and doing all this to carry your baby. So Wendy goes to her new job and tells him, look, I'm going to be on bed rest for the whole duration of my pregnancy because, shoot, I'm going to have me a baby this time. So Wendy Williams is at the house and my boy Kevin there massaging the feet and, you know, taking care of his lady while she working. They finally give birth to their baby. Finally, we have a healthy child in the house. But this is where things start to take a turn between Wendy and Kevin. One night she wakes up and Kevin isn't in the bed. He's in the other room and you hear him say, how much you need? I'll send you the money. Wendy comes in like, hey, who are you talking to? She tries to snatch the phone. Now Kevin has to explain who he's been talking to, and he's like, it's just a girl, man, but it's nothing serious. It's just we haven't had sex in a year. You've been on bed rest. I just needed someone to talk to. So Kevin went outside the marriage and he started to mess with some young lady. Now this is the part where Wendy hires a private investigator, follows her around, And she finds out who the mistress is and she gets pictures. Now she confronts Kevin with it. And she's like, "What, Kevin?" And Kevin is like, "Listen, I got bored. I'm sorry. But you're going at everybody out here. I got to do something to keep my mind off of things because you're going at Diddy, all kinds of different artists." And Wendy's like, "I ain't trying to hear none of that. That don't mean you got to step out on me." But Kevin is just trying to flip it on Wendy, get it off of me. You know what I'm saying? Defer, defer, defer. That's what you do to get up out. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you in some trouble, defer that shit. I ain't do nothing. For Wendy, she knows I got to get back to New York. And if I get to New York, I can get my husband away from whoever he's messing with out there. Out of sight, out of mind. Also, during this, she makes it so that she can't have babies for the next 10 years because she feels that Kevin made his decision. This is hers. Now, she meets up with an old acquaintance and she's talking to him about coming to New York because there's no Wendy Williams. There's no new Wendy Williams out there. So she wants to come back. He's like, I might only have an afternoon slot. She's like, I'll take it. But I wanted to do it my own way, run it the way I want. And can I get a signing bonus? He's like, listen, I'm going to call you tomorrow. The number I'm going to offer you, you're going to take it and you're going to like it. And just like that, we headed back to New York. Now we done went back to New York. 9/11 happened. Wendy's starting to write a book, but she's like, I don't know. Is anybody gonna show up? And Kevin is trying to tell her, like, you're Wendy. People love you. They're gonna show up for this, but don't even be worried about that. Write how you feel. The book is amazing. People are gonna love it. So he's still hyping up his girl. That's what you're supposed to do. Is his wife. He's still like, hey, I messed up, and she even told him, I'm gonna be brutally honest in this about, you know what I'm saying, your little affair that you had. And he's like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. It's behind me. But now he's motivating her. Hey, look. You doing your thing. Stick to it. Don't give up. That ain't the Wendy I married. Wendy took the advice. Her show is just going through the roof. Now she's in here. They're playing the interviews that she did with Mariah Carey, the interviews she did with Whitney Houston. Are you still on drugs? Mariah did. Ooh, look at them things. Okay. Wendy Williams is dropping the T. You know what I'm saying? I never really listened to her on the radio till like the end of her. You know what I'm saying? But hey, she doing her thing, and allegedly she was the shit. Now, Wendy Williams is doing a thing. She's thinking Kevin ain't really, you know what I'm saying, on that nonsense that he was on. And if you look right here, we get to see Charlamagne. So Wendy pulls up and she's like, who are you up here taking the money? And she's like, oh, well, Kevin told me to come here. She's like, where's Kevin at? Now, if you look in the back, you'll see Kevin talking to a young thing. Now, Charlamagne, they played him on this casting, but he's like, oh yeah, that's such and such. She's from Carolina, you know what I'm saying? I knew it back in the day, so I'm not sure if they're saying Wendy's hinting that Charlamagne hooked Kevin up with her or introduced her, but that's what it's looking like, and they played my boy Charlamagne. This don't look nothing like my dog. Now here goes the interesting part. Wendy and Kevin are sitting at the table. His phone is ringing and ringing and ringing. He hasn't answered it. So Wendy obviously thinks it's some chick. So she's like, answer the phone. He answered and is like, oh, okay, I'm her manager. Who is this? Dunmar? Okay. She's like, Dunmar? He's like, yeah, man, they've been calling to offer you a show. And she's like, you're the manager. You're supposed to handle this. But Kevin actually set it up like, man, they ain't talking the money we want. They ain't giving us the freedom to create like we want. So Kevin is the one that set it up like, look, they gonna keep calling, and when they call, I'm gonna tell them we want our own show. We want to run it the way we want. So Wendy, hey, she ends up getting her show thanks to Kevin. Kevin was playing hardball and got Wendy the show. And Wendy's telling the people, listen, the celebrity business is our business. And that's how she's going to make a living off of spilling the tea. The Wendy Williams show is doing good, and Wendy said Kevin just gets more and more reckless. One night he comes in the house. She's like, hey, did you let the garage down? He's like, oh, I was busy doing work at the Fort Lee apartment. So now Wendy going to antagonize, talk about, oh, your little whorehouse where you and your buddies meet up at. And he's like, look, man, everything I do for you. We just seen that Kevin is the one that set up the show. Now, if he was messing around and stuff, all right, I get it. You hurt. But at the same time, Kevin really put this career where it needed to be as far as taking it over the top. But Kevin, you wilding out, bro, and you messing up. Here goes Wendy again, pushing and pushing and pushing. One day Kevin comes into the Wendy Williams meeting and she's like, oh, you bought another watch? And he slams it on the table. It turns out the watch was for her, But she's just thinking that Kevin is just doing everything for him. But he just told you everything he's doing is for you. Outside of the cheating, everything is for you, Wendy. But he gets mad and he's like, man, f that table, man. I'll get us another table up in here, but f that table, man. I bought you a gift and this is how you treat me? Okay, I'm out of here. Ryan, Kevin's boy, pulls up and he's like, "Oh, hey, Wendy, I'm just picking up something for Kevin." She's like, "Oh, come in real quick." Now she sits down and pours him up some wine and she's like, "Man, you're a part of this team. You know what I'm saying? You're around Kevin." And this is where my boy starts messing up. So she starts asking him questions about the Fort Lee apartment. And if you're a man, don't get into their business. He's like, "Oh, yeah, man, he actually has a house like down the street from you and him and some girls living in it." So now Wendy's like, I gotta go see who's in that house. How you gonna tell on your boy like that, man? Now Wendy has the address to Kevin's house that's within 10 miles of where they live. She goes over there and guess what? Just like she asked Kevin to let the garage down at their house, he left the garage open. So Wendy went around front, looked in the mailbox and stuff, went around the back and seen the garage was open. Now she didn't mess up anything. She was just super angry that everything in there was bought with her money from her TV show. But Kevin actually set that up, so he might have a little bit of bread, but they making it seem like he doesn't. But she doesn't mess up anything. When she does leave, she closes the garage and she spray paints Kevin plus Wendy forever for life on the garage door to let Kevin know, hey, I know where you be. At this point, Wendy, she didn't had it. She's like, I'm done with this. She gets back to drinking. She's drinking, just a little wine here and there, maybe 2 or 3 glasses a night. But then it takes us to the infamous where she passes out on TV. And at this point, it's like, Wendy, you need some help. Like you're drinking a lot. You may not think you're an alcoholic. You may not be on drugs, but you're drinking a lot. And you really need to, saying some time to sit and think about life. Now, Wendy gets checked in. She can't have a phone. She can't have TV. She can't read any of the newspapers. And in her head, it's just racing. Like, my show is going down. I know people are talking about me, but Wendy, this is the same thing you made a living off of, talking about other people, all of their mishaps. You bring them up. So, hey, now if they making some money off of you, why not? Why not get even? But Wendy is like, hey, look, your mom's a fan. Can you help me out? Wendy ends up getting a couple of tabloids and a phone. She calls Kevin off of the phone like, Kevin, it's over with. I want a divorce. I don't want anything else to do with you. Kevin's like, huh? Okay. Wendy is let out of rehab and she's actually sent up to New York to pretty much a halfway home, whereas she's allowed to leave the house, do the show, and come back. Now she has to be escorted, and she's letting people know. She made an announcement on the show like, this is what I'm going through, but I'm still here for you people, saying pray for me, and I'm still going to be here. She has escorts. So when she gets up in the morning, she has escorts take her to the show and take her home. I could not live like that. I'm sorry. I could not live like that at all. One day riding home with her supervisors, her escorts, she's supposed to go to a meeting. Now, Kevin is her legal guardian while she's in this state, while she's in the halfway home. So he doesn't want her to go to this meeting because he's like, oh, she's not in the right mind. She doesn't need to be there. But Wendy, she ends up sneaking out. She sneaks out the car while they're in traffic and runs over to the meeting. This meeting is to meet up with all of her lawyers. She wants to be financially removed from Kevin. He has no control over the TV show. Oh, and I want a divorce. So Wendy went in there and she laid it all on the line like, I don't want anything to do with Mr. Kevin Hunter. Kevin comes to check on Wendy at the halfway house. She's like, you can't be in here. Where's the security at? And everybody's like, hey, Kevin, he's your legal guardian. He can be here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure he paid a little bit of extra cash. But when they get in there, she's going off on him like, you know what? You can go live in your other house, the cheap house that you got. You can go be with her. It's over with. I don't want anything to do. And Kevin's just like, dang, I really blew it this time. And you're going to be broke. Without me, you're going to be broke. But then she asked Kevin, what did you have? Because he ended up getting this young lady pregnant. What did you have? And Kevin had a daughter. Now, if you remember, their first stillborn was a daughter. So for Wendy, that definitely hurt her because she started with a daughter. It was a stillborn. She had a son. She can't have any kids anymore. Well, she doesn't want any more kids. And Kevin went out and had a daughter on his own. Wendy makes a full recovery, goes up to her meeting, and she pretty much tells him, look, moving forward, we about to be over the top. We about to do it bigger than anybody else. We about to give so much tea. Oh, Kevin Hunter has nothing to do with anything in here anymore. This is Wendy Williams and the crew. You know what I'm saying? No more Kevin. It's just us. And there you have it. We get to see the real Miss Wendy Williams. She's pretty much just telling us, thank you guys for going through my life story. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed it. Oh, and how you doing? Whatever the hell she be doing, but you know what I'm saying? Y'all love some Wendy Williams. All right, there you go, the Wendy Williams. Now, she made some horrible decisions in her life, but she straightened them, and now she says she can finally be proud of herself. Comment below, what did you think about this movie? I was going to break this down into two parts, but I said, nah, let's just let it run. But let me know what y'all think. And hey, thanks for watching. I'm Mo.J. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like the content. Hit that like button. Hey, man, we on that road to 5,000 subscribers. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.